While you're focused on oil changes and tire pressure, a $2,000 disaster is quietly building under your hood. Here's the scary truth. 40% of roadside breakdowns happen because drivers ignore 13 simple tricks that keep cooling systems bulletproof. Your radiator could blow tomorrow, your water pump could seize next week, and when it happens, you'll be stranded in steam, wishing you took 5 minutes to learn what I'm about to show you. Let's kick it off with the first secret. 13. Use the right coolant mix. Here's where most people screw up before they even start the engine. They use the wrong coolant mixture. Your cooling system isn't just about keeping things cold, it's about preventing corrosion, lubricating the water pump, and protecting against freezing. The magic ratio? 50-50 coolant to distilled water. Not tap water, not bottled water, distilled water. I learned this the hard way when I used tap water in an emergency top-off. 6 months later, mineral deposits had clogged my heater core, and I spent $600 fixing what should have been a $2 bottle of distilled water. Coolant mixture analysis from Automotive laboratories shows that improper ratios cause 67% of premature water pump failures and 54% of radiator corrosion issues. Tap water contains minerals that turn into scale and sludge inside your cooling system. It's like filling your arteries with cement. The minerals stick to metal surfaces, block passages, and create hot spots that can crack cylinder heads. Distilled water has been stripped of these minerals, leaving your cooling system clean and happy. Are you using the right coolant in your car? Drop a comment below with your car's make and model, and let's help each other avoid these costly mistakes. 12. Check coolant level weekly. This one sounds obvious, but you'd be shocked how many people ignore their coolant reservoir until steam starts pouring out of their hood. Checking coolant level takes 30 seconds and could save you thousands. Look for the plastic tank near your radiator with MIN and MAX lines marked on the side. Fleet maintenance data shows that vehicles with weekly coolant level checks experience 78% fewer overheating incidents compared to those checked monthly or less frequently. Here's the trick most people miss. Check when the engine is cold. Hot coolant expands, giving you a false reading. If you check right after driving, the level might look fine when you're actually running low. Cold engine, accurate reading, no surprises. The coolant level tells a story. If it's dropping slowly, you've got a leak somewhere. If it's dropping fast, you've got a big leak somewhere. If it never moves, either you're incredibly lucky or your overflow system isn't working properly. My dad religiously checked his coolant every Sunday morning with his coffee. In 15 years of driving that truck, he never had a single overheating episode, and the engine lasted 300,000 miles. Don't just look at the level. Look at the coolant itself. Fresh coolant is usually bright and translucent. Old coolant looks like chocolate milk or rust-colored soup. If your coolant looks like something you'd find in a swamp, it's time for a change, regardless of mileage. And keep a small bottle of pre-mixed coolant in your trunk. Not for major leaks, but for those tiny evaporation losses that happen over time. Top it off when needed, and your cooling system stays happy. But there's another part you should be checking just as much. Before we jump into 11, hit subscribe for more tips to keep your cooling system running forever. 11. Inspect hoses and clamps monthly. Rubber hoses are the weak links in your cooling system, and they love to fail at the worst possible moments. A $15 hose can destroy a $15,000 engine if it lets go at highway speed. Monthly inspection takes 5 minutes and could save you from roadside disaster. Emergency cooling system repairs from hose failures average $850 to $1,600 compared to $45 to $85 for preventive hose replacement during routine maintenance. Feel each hose while the engine is cold. Look for cracks, bulges, soft spots, or areas where the rubber feels spongy. A good hose feels firm but flexible. A dying hose feels either rock hard or mushy like overripe fruit. Either condition means replacement time. Don't forget the clamps. These metal bands keep your hoses attached to fittings, and they can loosen over time from heat cycling. Grab each hose near a clamp and try to twist it. If it moves easily, the clamp needs tightening. If coolant has been weeping around a clamp, that's your early warning system screaming for attention. Have you ever had a hose blow on the highway? Share your horror story in the comments below. And if this video is saving you from expensive repairs, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more preventive maintenance secrets. 10. Flush system. Every 30,000 miles. Coolant doesn't last forever, even though it looks the same for years. Over time, it breaks down, loses its protective properties, and turns from engine protector into engine destroyer. A complete system flush every 30,000 miles isn't optional. It's insurance against catastrophic failure. I bought a used car with lifetime coolant that hadn't been changed in 80,000 miles. The radiator was so corroded internally that chunks of metal were floating in the coolant reservoir like rusty cereal. Old coolant becomes acidic and starts eating your cooling system from the inside. It attacks rubber seals, corrodes metal surfaces, and creates sludge that blocks narrow passages. What started as protection becomes destruction, and you'll never see it coming until it's too late. Extended coolant analysis studies show that coolant pH levels drop significantly after 30,000 miles, becoming acidic enough to cause internal corrosion in 91% of tested vehicles. A proper flush isn't just draining the radiator and refilling it. That leaves 40 to 50% of the old coolant trapped in the engine block, heater core, and other components. A real flush uses pressure and special equipment to remove virtually all the old fluid and contamination. Skipping coolant flushes leads to internal corrosion damage averaging $2,400 to $4,200 in repairs, including radiator replacement, heater core service, and water pump failure. So just check. But there's more. 9. Test radiator cap pressure. That little cap on top of your radiator does way more than you think. It's actually a precision pressure valve that maintains the perfect operating pressure in your cooling system. Get it wrong, and your system either boils over or runs too cool, both of which spell trouble. The cap should hold 15 to 16 psi in most cars. Higher pressure raises the boiling point of coolant, letting your engine run hotter without overheating. But if the cap can't hold pressure, your coolant boils at a lower temperature and you lose cooling efficiency exactly when you need it most. Most auto parts stores can test your cap for free. It takes 30 seconds on a simple pressure tester. If the cap can't hold its rated pressure, replace it immediately. A $12 cap could save you from thousands in overheating damage. But here's what most people don't know. The cap also regulates coolant flow to the overflow tank. When the engine heats up, coolant expands and the excess goes to the overflow. When it cools down, the cap creates a vacuum that sucks coolant back from the overflow. If this cycle breaks, your cooling system can't regulate itself properly. We're halfway through these cooling system secrets. If you're learning something new, show some love with a like, and make sure you're subscribed because we're about to cover the tricks that most mechanics don't even know. 8. Keep fins clean and straight. Your radiator is basically a giant heat exchanger with thousands of thin metal fins designed to transfer engine heat to outside air. But those fins are delicate and they collect debris like a magnet. Bent, clogged, or damaged fins can cut your cooling efficiency by 30% or more. Heat transfer efficiency studies show that radiators with 25% or more fin blockage experience cooling capacity reductions of 35 to 40%, leading to chronic overheating in stop-and-go traffic. Look through your radiator fins from the front of the car. You should be able to see daylight through most of the core. If it looks like a solid wall of leaves, bugs, and road debris, your radiator is suffocating. Air can't flow through, heat can't transfer, and your engine runs hot even when everything else is perfect. Chronic overheating from blocked radiator fins causes cumulative engine damage, averaging $3,200 to $5,800 over time, including head gasket failure and cylinder head warping. Road salt in winter climates is particularly brutal on radiator fins. It corrodes the thin aluminum and creates holes that can't be repaired. If you drive in salt country, rinse your radiator area regularly during winter months to prevent long-term corrosion damage. If you're the type to treat your gauges as decorative parts of your car, then the next tip is for you. 7. Monitor temperature gauge religiously. Your temperature gauge isn't just a decoration on your dashboard. It's your early warning system for cooling trouble. Most drivers ignore it until it's buried in the red zone, but smart drivers watch for subtle changes that signal problems before they become disasters. I once noticed my temperature gauge running just slightly higher than normal during summer traffic. Turned out my cooling fan wasn't kicking in properly, and catching it early saved me from a complete overheating meltdown. Normal operating temperature varies by car, but once you learn your engine's personality, deviations become obvious. Most engines run around 195 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit, and the gauge should sit in a consistent spot during normal driving. If it starts creeping higher, even slightly, something's changing. Driver behavior studies indicate that motorists who actively monitor temperature gauges catch cooling problems 85% earlier than those who only notice after overheating warnings appear. Do you actually watch your temperature gauge while driving? Most people don't, but it could save your engine. Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more car-saving tips that actually work. 6. Replace thermostat preventively. The thermostat is your cooling system's traffic cop, controlling when coolant flows between the engine and radiator. When it works, you never think about it. When it fails, you're stranded with an overheated engine, or an engine that never warms up properly. Most thermostats are designed to open at a specific temperature, usually 180 to 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Below that temperature, coolant circulates only within the engine. Above that temperature, the thermostat opens and allows coolant to flow through the radiator for cooling. It's a simple but critical job. Thermostat failure leading to overheating causes average repair bills of $2,800 to $4,500, while preventive thermostat replacement costs just $150 to $280, including labor. Here's the smart play. Replace your thermostat every 60,000 to 100,000 miles regardless of symptoms. It's cheap insurance, and the labor overlaps with other cooling system services. When you're doing a coolant flush or water pump replacement, throw in a new thermostat while everything's apart. Quality matters with thermostats. Cheap units can fail prematurely or operate at incorrect temperatures. Stick with OEM or quality aftermarket brands, and always replace the gasket at the same time. A few dollars saved on a bargain thermostat can cost thousands when it fails at the worst moment. And for the next tip, if it fails or dies, everything else dies with it. 5. Service water pump before it dies. The water pump is your cooling system's heart, circulating coolant through the entire engine and radiator network. When it dies, everything dies with it. But water pumps give warning signs before they completely fail, and catching those signs early can save your engine. My mechanic pointed out a tiny coolant weep from my water pump during an oil change. I replaced it the following weekend, and 2 weeks later, my neighbor's identical car had a catastrophic pump failure that destroyed his engine. Listen for unusual noises from the front of the engine. Water pumps have bearings that wear out over time, and failing bearings make grinding, squealing, or rumbling sounds. The noise usually gets worse with engine RPM and may be most noticeable during cold starts. Another thing you should take notice of are air bubbles, and we're talking about that next. 4. Bleed air bubbles completely. Air bubbles in your cooling system are like tiny saboteurs, creating hot spots and preventing proper coolant circulation. Even small amounts of trapped air can cause overheating, poor heater performance, and premature component failure. Proper bleeding technique is critical after any cooling system service. Cooling system performance testing reveals that just 5% air contamination can reduce heat transfer efficiency by 15 to 20%, causing localized overheating even with adequate coolant levels. Air gets trapped in high spots throughout the cooling system: the engine block, cylinder heads, heater core, and radiator. These bubbles prevent coolant from reaching critical areas, and they compress under pressure, creating inconsistent cooling performance. The bleeding process varies by vehicle, but the principle is always the same: get the air out and keep it out. Some cars have specific bleeding procedures involving running the engine at certain RPMs with the heater on full blast. Others require special tools to pressurize the system and force air out through bleeder valves. Some cooling systems are particularly prone to air pockets. European cars often have complex bleeding procedures with multiple steps and specific sequences. Japanese cars usually have simpler systems, but still require patience to get all the air out. When in doubt, consult the service manual or pay a professional to do it right. And now we're down to our top 3 tips. These tips would completely change your cooling system and prevent any repairs. Which ones do you think they will be? 3. Use distilled water only. We touched on this earlier, but it bears repeating because it's so critical. Only use distilled water in your cooling system. Tap water, well water, even bottled drinking water contains minerals that will destroy your cooling system over time. Water quality analysis shows that average tap water contains 200 to 400 parts per million of dissolved minerals, while distilled water contains less than 1 part per million, making it over 200 times cleaner for cooling system use. Minerals in tap water precipitate out when heated, forming scale deposits on metal surfaces throughout your cooling system. This scale acts like insulation, preventing heat transfer and creating hot spots that can crack cylinder heads or damage gaskets. Mineral buildup from tap water use causes $1,800 to $3,200 in average cooling system damage over 3 to 5 years, including radiator replacement, heater core service, and engine block cleaning. Emergency situations are different. If you're overheating on the side of the road, use whatever water you can find to get home safely, but drain and refill with proper coolant mixture as soon as possible. Temporary tap water won't cause immediate damage, but don't leave it there long term. How many of you have been using tap water in your cooling system? Don't worry, we've all made mistakes. Drop a comment and let us know what you learned today. And make sure to subscribe for more maintenance secrets that save serious money. 2. Check belt tension and condition. Your cooling system depends on a simple rubber belt to drive the water pump, alternator, and other critical components. A loose, worn, or broken belt can cause instant overheating, leaving you stranded with expensive damage. Belt inspection should be part of every routine maintenance check. Belt failure analysis from roadside assistance providers shows that belt-related breakdowns cause 22% of all cooling system emergencies. Yet 94% of these failures show visible warning signs weeks before complete failure. A good belt feels firm and flexible with minimal cracking on the surface. Look for fraying edges, missing chunks, or glazed surfaces that feel hard and slick. Any of these conditions mean replacement time, regardless of mileage or age. The twist test works for most belts. You should be able to twist the belt about 90 degrees at its longest span. More twist means too loose, less twist means too tight. Some cars have automatic tensioners that maintain proper tension, but these can wear out and should be checked during belt replacement. Modern serpentine belts typically last 60,000 to 100,000 miles, but harsh conditions can reduce this significantly. Extreme heat, cold, oil contamination, or misaligned pulleys can kill belts prematurely. Replace belts at the first sign of wear rather than waiting for failure. And now, our number 1. It's a popular one, but of course, you know how to do it. 1. Install auxiliary cooling fans. Here's the secret weapon that separates cooling systems that last forever from those that die young: auxiliary cooling fans. These aftermarket additions provide extra airflow when your engine needs it most, preventing the heat buildup that kills cooling systems over time. Installing auxiliary cooling fans costs $200 to $500, but can prevent $4,000 to $8,000 in overheating damage over the vehicle's lifetime, especially in hot climates or heavy-duty applications. Factory cooling fans are designed for average conditions, but real-world driving often exceeds those conditions. Stop-and-go traffic, trailer towing, hot climates, or performance modifications can overwhelm your stock cooling system. Auxiliary fans provide the extra capacity to handle these challenges. Electric auxiliary fans are usually the best choice because they can run independently of engine RPM and continue operating after shutdown to prevent heat soak. Mount them to pull air through the radiator, not push air against it, for maximum effectiveness. After adding auxiliary fans to my truck, summer traffic jams went from nail-biting temperature climbs to comfortable cruising. The peace of mind alone was worth the investment, and I've never had an overheating issue since. We've covered 13 game-changing cooling system tips, but we're not done yet. Make sure you're subscribed because we're about to reveal the 2 deadly mistakes that destroy more cooling systems than everything else combined. The 2 deadly mistakes that destroy cooling systems. Now that you know how to make your cooling system last forever, let's talk about the 2 mistakes that kill more cooling systems than everything else combined. These aren't just bad habits, they're cooling system death sentences that'll leave you with catastrophic damage and massive repair bills. Deadly mistake number 1, ignoring small leaks. My coworker had a tiny leak that left quarter-size spots on his driveway. He kept topping off the coolant and ignoring the real problem until the leak became a rupture on the interstate, destroying his engine completely. Here's why small leaks are so deadly. They let air into the system. Every drop of coolant that leaks out gets replaced by air, and air doesn't cool anything. Those tiny bubbles create hot spots, cause erratic temperature readings, and prevent proper heat transfer throughout the engine. Small leaks also waste coolant constantly, and running low on coolant is an instant recipe for overheating. You might think you're saving money by just adding coolant instead of fixing the leak, but you're actually setting yourself up for thousands of dollars in engine damage. The average small coolant leak costs $85 to $200 to repair properly, but ignoring it leads to engine damage averaging $3,500 to $12,000 when the system finally fails catastrophically. Find the source of every leak and fix it immediately. Don't top off and hope for the best. Don't use stop leak products as permanent solutions. Fix the root cause, or pay the consequences when your cooling system fails completely. Deadly mistake number 2, running water instead of coolant. Water cools better than coolant, right? So I'll just run straight water and save money. Wrong, wrong, wrong. This mistake has killed more engines than bad mechanics, and people keep making it because it seems logical. A guy at my old job bragged about running straight water in his pickup because coolant is just colored water anyway. 6 months later, his engine block cracked from freezing, and his water pump was so corroded it looked like Swiss cheese. Running water instead of coolant causes average system damage of $2,800 to $6,500 within 2 years, including complete radiator replacement, water pump failure, and internal engine corrosion that can require engine rebuilding. Water also freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and frozen coolant can crack engine blocks, cylinder heads, and radiators. Even if you live in a warm climate, one unexpected cold snap can destroy your entire engine. proper coolant mixture protects to -34 degrees Fahrenheit, giving you safety margin against weather surprises. These cooling system secrets could save you thousands of dollars and years of reliable driving. If this video helped you understand your cooling system better, smash that like button and subscribe for more car maintenance wisdom. Your future self will thank you when your engine is still running strong while others are calling tow trucks. The difference between engines that last forever and engines that die young isn't luck, it's knowledge and prevention. You now have both. Use them wisely, and your car will reward you with decades of reliable service and thousands of dollars saved on repairs that never needed to happen. Like this video, subscribe, stay cool out there, and I'll see you in the next one.